Naqsh-e Rustam is a very old and special place. It is found in Iran, a country with a long, rich history. This amazing site is not far from another famous ancient city called Persepolis. Imagine a huge cliff, a wall of rock rising from the earth. This is where great kings from long ago chose to be remembered. The name Naqsh-e Rustam means picture of Rustam. Rustam was a famous hero in old Persian stories, a strong and brave warrior. People later thought the carvings here showed him, but they are much, much older than his legends. This place holds secrets of powerful empires and rulers who shaped the world. This ancient site is truly breathtaking. When you stand before the tall cliff, you feel very small. The sun shines on the rock and you can see giant carvings high above. These carvings are tombs and pictures made by kings. They wanted everyone to see their power even after they were gone. For many centuries, people have come here to look and wonder. It is like an open-air museum telling stories without words. The wind whispers around the rocks, perhaps carrying tales of the great kings and their mighty deeds. It is a place where history feels very close, very real and very powerful. Naqsh-e Rustam is very important because it shows us two great Persian empires. First, there were the Achaemenid kings who built a huge empire long ago. They carved their tombs high up on the cliff face, like giant crosses in the rock. Then, many hundreds of years later, another group of kings, the Sasanians, came. They also wanted to show their power at this special place. They carved big pictures in the rock below the old tombs. These pictures show kings winning battles and receiving power from their gods. So this one cliff tells stories from different times, a truly remarkable historical record. Visiting Naqsh-e Rustam is like stepping back in time. You can almost hear the sounds of workers carving the stone. You can almost see the grand processions of kings and their courts. It is a place of silence now. But it was once full of meaning and messages. The kings wanted to be remembered forever. And here at Naqsh-e Rustam, their wish came true. Their stone monuments have survived for thousands of years. They teach us about ancient beliefs, art, and the lives of people from a world very different from our own, a testament to human ambition. The Achaemenid kings were very powerful rulers. They lived more than 2,500 years ago. Their empire was one of the biggest the world had ever seen. It stretched from parts of Europe and Egypt all the way to India. Kings like Cyrus the Great and Darius I were famous Achaemenid rulers. They were known for their great armies, their organized government, and their impressive building projects. Persepolis was their amazing ceremonial capital, a city of palaces and wonders. The Achaemenids were skilled administrators and warriors, creating a system that lasted for generations. These kings wanted to show their greatness in many ways. They built roads and canals, they made laws and encouraged trade, and they built magnificent palaces and tombs. For the Achaemenid kings, death was not the end. They believed in an afterlife and wanted to ensure their legacy would endure. Their tombs were not just places to bury their bodies. They were statements of power and their connection to the gods. They chose impressive locations like Naqsh-e Rustam to make these statements. The scale of their ambition was truly vast, reflecting the immense reach of their dominion across the ancient world. The Achaemenid Empire was known for its tolerance of different cultures and religions within its borders. While the king was supreme, local customs were often respected. This helped to keep the vast empire peaceful for long periods. The wealth of the empire was enormous, gathered from its many lands and peoples. This wealth was used to fund their armies, their administration, and their incredible building projects. The art and architecture of the Achaemenids were a blend of styles from different parts of the empire, creating something uniquely Persian and grand. They were masters of propaganda, using art to convey royal power. When an Achaemenid king died, it was a major event. His body would be prepared with great care. Then it would be taken to his final resting place, a magnificent tomb carved into a mountainside. These tombs were designed to protect the king's body and his treasures. They were also meant to remind people of his power and his divine favor. The Achaemenids wanted their names to be remembered forever. And through sites like Naqsh-e Rustam, they achieved this. Their legacy is etched in stone, a permanent reminder of their once mighty rule. The tombs at Naqsh-e Rustam are an incredible sight. Imagine looking up at a massive rock cliff. High above you there are 4 huge cross-shaped carvings. These are the tombs of Achaemenid kings. They are cut directly into the solid rock, a very difficult and skillful job. Each tomb looks like the front of a palace. There are columns and a doorway, but these are not real entrances you can walk through easily. The real burial chamber is hidden inside the rock, a small room for the king's body. These tombs were meant to be seen from far away, symbols of royal authority and eternal rest. Making these tombs must have taken many workers and many years. They had to climb the high cliff or build large wooden structures to reach the rock face. Then they carefully chipped away the stone to create the shape of the tomb. The detail is amazing, even from a distance. The kings wanted their tombs to be impressive and to last forever. They chose this place, Naqsh-e Rustam, because it was a special, perhaps sacred location. The sheer effort involved speaks volumes about the resources and the determination of these ancient rulers. It was a monumental undertaking, a testament to their engineering prowess and their desire for lasting fame. Each tomb has a similar design. The central part is a large panel that looks like a cross. Above the doorway there is a relief carving. This carving usually shows the king standing on a platform. The platform is held up by figures representing the different peoples of the Achaemenid Empire. The king is often shown worshipping a god, usually Ahura Mazda, the most important god for the Achaemenids. This showed that the king had divine support for his rule. These images were carefully chosen to send a message of power, piety, and the vastness of the empire. These tombs were like eternal homes for the kings. They were designed to be safe from robbers and to stand against the passage of time. Inside, the king's body would have been placed, perhaps with valuable objects, but the most important thing was the tomb itself, the visible sign of the king's majesty. Looking at these tombs today, we can feel the power and ambition of the Achaemenid rulers. They wanted to make a statement that would last for thousands of years, and they succeeded, as these magnificent structures continue to inspire awe and wonder in all who behold them. One of the most famous tombs at Naqsh-e Rustam belongs to Darius I, also known as Darius the Great. He was one of the most important Achaemenid kings. He ruled a vast empire and was known for his organizing skills and his building projects. His tomb is one of the 4 large Achaemenid tombs on the cliff. It is a powerful reminder of his long and influential reign. Darius wanted the world to know about his achievements and his right to rule. His tomb was a key part of this message, a lasting testament to his authority and his connection to the divine. The tomb of Darius I has important inscriptions carved into the rock. These writings tell us many things in his own words. He talks about his royal family and how he became king. He lists the many countries that were part of his empire, showing its great size. He also speaks about his belief in the god Ahura Mazda and how this god helped him. These inscriptions are very valuable for historians. They give us direct information from the king himself. They are like a biography written in stone, meant to be read and understood by future generations, proclaiming his legitimacy and his piety. On the relief above the entrance to Darius's tomb, we see the king. He is standing before a fire altar, a symbol of Zoroastrian worship. Above him is a figure that many believe represents Ahura Mazda, or perhaps the king's royal glory. The king is shown with his bow, a symbol of his power and kingship. Below him, the platform is supported by representatives of the 30 nations of his empire. This image clearly states that Darius is the rightful king, supported by his god and by all the peoples he rules. It is a carefully constructed piece of royal propaganda, designed to impress and to assert his authority. Darius the Great was a master of communication. He used inscriptions and art like this to spread his messages across his empire. His tomb at Naqsh-e Rustam was not just a burial place, it was a monument to his reign and his vision. He wanted to be remembered as a just and powerful ruler, chosen by the gods. The grandeur of his tomb reflects the grandeur of his empire. Even today, thousands of years later, his message of power and divine right still resonates from the silent stone of the cliff face, a powerful echo from a distant past. Section 5. Echoes of Other Kings. The Achaemenid legacy continues. Besides Darius the Great, other mighty Achaemenid kings are also believed to be buried at Naqsh-e Rustam. While inscriptions don't name them all explicitly on their tombs, historians think 3 other tombs belong to Xerxes I, Artaxerxes I, and Darius II. Xerxes I was the son of Darius the Great, famous for his invasion of Greece. Artaxerxes I and Darius II were later kings who continued to rule the vast Persian Empire. Having their tombs together at this one site made Naqsh-e Rustam a true royal necropolis, a city of the dead for the Achaemenid dynasty. This concentration of royal burials underscored the site's sanctity and importance. The design of these other tombs is very similar to the tomb of Darius I. They all have the same distinctive cross shape carved high into the cliff. They also feature reliefs above the symbolic doorways, showing the king in a pose of worship, standing on a throne platform supported by figures representing the empire's diverse peoples. This repetition in design was intentional. It created a sense of continuity and dynastic legitimacy. Each king was presented in a similar way, reinforcing the enduring nature of Achaemenid kingship and its divine favor. This visual consistency projected an image of stable, divinely ordained rule across generations. While the overall designs are similar, there might be small differences in details or the style of carving from one tomb to another. These subtle variations could reflect changes in artistic styles over time or the specific preferences of each king. However, the main message remained the same. The king was powerful, pious, and ruled over a vast and loyal empire. The location itself, overlooking the plains, added to the majesty of these monuments. They were meant to be seen to impress and to remind everyone of the Achaemenid dynasty's enduring presence and power. The sheer scale of these undertakings continued to be a hallmark of their reign. The presence of these multiple royal tombs transformed Naqsh-e Rustam into a dynastic shrine. It was a place where the memory of the great Achaemenid kings was preserved and honored. For generations, people would have looked up at these monumental carvings with awe and respect. Even after the Achaemenid Empire fell, these tombs remained, silent witnesses to a glorious past. They served as a powerful reminder of Persia's imperial heritage, influencing later rulers and inspiring legends for centuries to come. The legacy of these kings was literally set in stone, ensuring their memory would not fade easily. Section 6. A new power rises. The Sasanians claim the stage. Many centuries passed after the time of the Achaemenid kings. Their great empire eventually fell to Alexander the Great. After Alexander, other rulers came and went. Then a new Persian dynasty rose to power, the Sasanians. This was around the 3rd century AD, about 500 years after the last Achaemenid kings were buried at Naqsh-e Rustam. The Sasanians saw themselves as the true successors to the Achaemenids. They wanted to restore the glory of Persia and create a powerful empire, just like their ancient ancestors had done. They looked to the past for inspiration and legitimacy. The Sasanian kings knew about Naqsh-e Rustam. They saw the magnificent tombs of the Achaemenid kings high on the cliff. For them, this was a sacred and important place, a link to Persia's golden age. By choosing this same location for their own monuments, the Sasanians were making a powerful statement. They were saying, "We are connected to these great kings of old. We are the new guardians of Persian power and tradition." It was a clever way to use history to support their own rule and to show their respect for their imperial predecessors. This act of appropriation was a powerful political message. Instead of carving tombs high up like the Achaemenids, the Sasanians created large rock reliefs at the base of the cliff. These reliefs are huge pictures carved directly into the stone, often depicting the Sasanian kings themselves. These carvings are much closer to the ground, making them easier to see in detail. The style of Sasanian art is different from Achaemenid art, but it is equally impressive. It is full of energy and movement, showing strong, heroic figures. The Sasanians wanted their reliefs to tell stories of their victories, their power, and their relationship with the gods. So Naqsh-e Rustam became a place where two great Persian dynasties left their mark. The Achaemenid tombs towered above, symbols of an earlier empire. Below them, the Sasanian reliefs proclaimed the power of a new line of kings. This layering of history makes Naqsh-e Rustam incredibly special. It shows how later rulers often look to the past to strengthen their own position and identity. The Sasanians were not just building on the physical site, they were building on the legacy and prestige of those who came before them, creating a continuous narrative of Persian greatness. Section 7. Stories in Rock. The Sasanian reliefs. The Sasanian rock reliefs at Naqsh-e Rustam are like giant storybooks carved in stone. There are several of these impressive carvings, each telling a different tale of royal power and triumph. These reliefs are much larger than life-size, designed to impress anyone who saw them. The Sasanian kings used these carvings to communicate important messages to their people and to their enemies. They show the kings as strong warriors, devout worshippers, and legitimate rulers. The detail in these reliefs is remarkable, showing clothing, armor, horses, and expressions on faces, all meticulously rendered by skilled artisans. A common theme in the Sasanian reliefs is the investiture of the king. This is a ceremony where a god gives the king the symbol of royal power, often a ring or diadem. For example, one famous relief shows Naqsh-e Rustam, the founder of the Sasanian dynasty, receiving the ring of kingship from the god Ahura Mazda. Both figures are on horseback, facing each other. This image clearly showed that Ardashir's power came directly from the gods, making his rule legitimate. Such scenes reinforced the divine right of Sasanian kings to rule their vast and powerful empire. Another important theme is the king's victory in battle. Sasanian kings were often at war with their neighbors, especially the Roman Empire. The reliefs proudly display Sasanian victories. The king is usually shown on a magnificent horse, trampling his enemies underfoot. Sometimes defeated enemy leaders are shown kneeling or begging for mercy before the triumphant Sasanian ruler. These scenes were powerful propaganda. They celebrated Sasanian military strength and warned any potential rivals. They were a clear message that the Sasanian Empire was a force to be reckoned with on the world stage. The Sasanian reliefs also show other royal activities, such as imperial processions or the king with his family and court officials. Every detail in these carvings was carefully chosen to enhance the king's image. The horses are always strong and noble. The king's robes are rich and elaborate. His expression is typically calm and confident. These reliefs were not just art, they were political statements. They helped to create and maintain the Sasanian king's image as all-powerful, divinely chosen rulers, guardians of Persia and its ancient traditions for all to see and admire. Section 8. Famous scenes of power. Shapur's triumph. One of the most famous and dramatic Sasanian reliefs at Naqsh-e Rustam shows the victory of King Shapur I over the Roman Emperor Valerian. This event happened in 260 AD and was a huge triumph for the Sasanians. Shapur I was a powerful Sasanian king, and Valerian was the ruler of the mighty Roman Empire. To defeat and capture a Roman emperor was an incredible achievement. This relief was created to celebrate this historic victory and to show Shapur's supreme power to the entire world. It remains one of the most iconic images of Sasanian art. In this impressive relief, King Shapur I is shown on horseback, looking majestic and calm. He is wearing his royal crown and elaborate robes. Under his horse's hooves lies a dead Roman figure, possibly another Roman emperor, Gordian III, whom Shapur had defeated earlier. The main focus, however, is on Emperor Valerian. Valerian is shown kneeling before Shapur, his hands outstretched as if begging for mercy. Another Roman, Philip the Arab, who made a treaty with Shapur, is shown standing and holding Shapur's horse. This composition clearly demonstrates Shapur's dominance over his Roman adversaries. The message of this relief is unmistakable. The Sasanian king is superior to the Roman emperors. It was a powerful piece of propaganda designed to boost Sasanian prestige and to humiliate Rome. Imagine how Romans would have felt seeing their emperor depicted in such a subservient position. For the Persians, it was a source of immense pride. The carving is very detailed, showing the textures of cloth, the muscles of the horses, and the expressions of the figures. It is a masterpiece of Sasanian art, full of energy and political meaning, a testament to a pivotal moment in ancient history. This relief, like others at Naqsh-e Rustam, was strategically placed for maximum impact. People traveling through the area would have seen it and understood its message. It served as a constant reminder of Sasanian might and the fate of those who dared to challenge them. Today, this carving is a vital historical document. It not only tells us about a specific event, but also reveals how the Sasanian kings wanted to be perceived. It highlights the intense rivalry between Persia and Rome, two superpowers of the ancient world forever captured in stone. Section 9. Whispers of History, Why Naqsh-e Rustam Endures. Naqsh-e Rustam is much more than just a collection of old carvings on a cliff. It is a window into the heart of ancient Persia, a place where history speaks directly to us. The Achaemenid tombs high above tell of an empire that stretched across continents, of kings who saw themselves as rulers of the world, chosen by their god. Their monumental scale and majestic design still inspire awe. They remind us of the ambition, the power, and the beliefs of one of the world's earliest great empires. These structures are not just stone, they are the echoes of a civilization that shaped history profoundly. Then, below these ancient tombs, the Sasanian reliefs add another layer to the story. They tell of a resurgent Persian power, eager to connect with its glorious past and to proclaim its own might. The scenes of royal investitures and battlefield triumphs show a dynasty confident in its divine right and military strength. The Sasanians consciously chose this sacred Achaemenid site to link their own legacy to that of their revered predecessors. This deliberate act of layering history makes Naqsh-e Rustam a unique testament to the continuity and evolution of Persian identity and imperial ideology through many centuries. Preserving sites like Naqsh-e Rustam is incredibly important for all of humanity. These monuments are irreplaceable records of our shared past. They teach us about ancient civilizations, their art, their religions, and their ways of life. They show us how rulers projected power and how cultures interacted. Sadly, such ancient sites are often threatened by time, weather, pollution, and sometimes human neglect or intentional damage. We have a responsibility to protect these treasures so that future generations can also learn from them and be inspired by their grandeur and historical depth. Naqsh-e Rustam stands as a silent, powerful witness to the rise and fall of empires. It reminds us that even the mightiest rulers and the grandest civilizations are part of the flow of history. Yet through their art and their monuments, they can achieve a form of immortality. The whispers of Darius, Xerxes, Ardashir and Shapur can still be heard in the wind that blows across the plains before this magnificent cliff. It is a place of wonder, a place of learning, and a profound reminder of the enduring human desire to leave a mark on the world, a legacy carved in stone for eternity.